Welcome to the Surviving to Thriving podcast, where we're dedicated to helping you break free from chronic inflammation and get your life back. I'm Dr. Rachel Yeager, naturopathic doctor and medical intuitive, and the founder of the Surviving to Thriving method of chronic illness recovery. Join me as we uncover strategies for overcoming health challenges and restoring your physical, mental, emotional, and soul health. Together, let's embark on a journey to thriving. Hello. So today we're tackling a fascinating and sometimes controversial topic of homeopathic medicine. And for that matter, what a homeopathic doctor is. So we'll explore what homeopathy is, how to use it, common remedies, contraindications and concerns, and whether there is scientific research supporting its use, especially for kids and pets. We'll also clarify the difference between a homeopathic doctor and a naturopathic doctor. So let's jump in. So number one, what is homeopathic medicine? Homeopathy is a whole system of alternative medicine. It was developed in the late 1700s by a German physician, Samuel Hahnemann. It's based on two main principles, which most people have never heard of before. So one is like cures like, and then the other is all about hormesis or law of minimum dose. And this is the idea that a substance that causes symptoms in a healthy person can, in extremely diluted amounts, help treat those same symptoms in a sick person. And this kind of idea would be that if the process is happening in the body, if you give an input to the body to help the body recognize what is going on, what process is specifically happening, it's like feeding a microchip into a computer. You're giving it a clearer data picture of what's happening in the body so then the body can respond. So it's like triggering and letting the body know what's there, but doing it in a very safe way where it's extremely diluted. So the remedies are derived from natural sources like plants, minerals, and even animal substances, but they're diluted to the point where very little, sometimes even an undetectable amount of the original substance remains. So, one of the fascinating theories that's also behind homeopathy is the idea that water has memory, since water is used to make the dilution. Scientists and homeopaths, they suggest that water can hold the energetic signature of substances that it has come into contact with, even after the physical molecules are gone. And as crazy as this sounds, there's actually some really cool research out there where scientists have put DNA into the water, extracted the DNA, the physical DNA, and the signature of the DNA is actually still perceptible in the water. There's another experiment that's been done where two vials or glasses of water were sat next to each other, and one had DNA information put into it. And then the next day, the other water also had that same DNA information. So somehow it was conveyed, that signature was able to be held by the water and shared by the water. And so for that reason, it's often spoken that water has intelligence and that water is capable of transmitting healing information to the body, which is why homeopathic remedies are believed to work even at extreme dilutions. It's not the substance itself that's causing anything. It's the extreme dilution, the water itself, holding the energetic signature of the substance. So critics argue that homeopathy's extreme dilutions make it unlikely that any active ingredient remains. But the believers and supporters of homeopathy believe that its energetic properties help stimulate the body's natural healing mechanisms. Even though there's a lot of controversy about homeopathy in the US, it's used worldwide, especially in Europe, India, and Latin America. How to dose homeopathic remedies. Dosing for homeopathy is way different from conventional medicine. So instead of taking a large amount of a substance, homeopathic remedies are actually given in really tiny, highly diluted doses. The potency is marked with a C or an X, and the letters that come with these potencies are representing 100 times dilution. Common potencies are going to be 6C, 30C, and 200C. And what's interesting is that the number of times that the product would be diluted actually makes it more powerful. And the more powerful remedies are used for different things than remedies that have been less diluted. So low potency is going to be 6C to 12C. These are often used for really acute, mild symptoms, so just physical symptoms. Medium potencies like 30C are often used for more noticeable symptoms. If 6C might be used for something like poison ivy, and 30C might be used for a cold. And so 30C can also start to cover not just physical, but some emotional symptoms that are showing up. 200C is considered medium high potency. That's for really intense long term chronic conditions, or it's for treating something on a more emotional level. And then beyond there, there's potencies like 1F for 1 million and beyond. Those are typically not going to be something that you'd find at an over the counter store. And the dosing in terms of the amount really, depends more on how the person is presenting. The frequency depends on the intensity of the symptoms. But with homeopathy, it's not the same as another medication or even just another supplement where it might matter a lot how often you dose it or exactly how much you're doing, like how many drops of it. It's more just that the energetic imprint is being received, period. For frequency of dosing, it's pretty arbitrary, but acute conditions, there's often a lot more frequent dosing so the body can keep getting that repeat signature over and over again. Chronic conditions, usually less often. There's less frequent dosing. And it's important to let the body respond to the remedy and not overuse it. So if symptoms improve, it's generally recommended to stop taking the remedy and only repeat if symptoms return. So some really common homeopathic remedies that are very widely used. Number one would probably be arnica. Arnica is sold in creams. It's great for bruises, injuries, muscle soreness. Chamomile is often used for teething babies and irritability. Nux vomica is often used for hangovers, nausea, any digestive issues. Belladonna is used for pounding headaches, high fevers, and pretty extreme red hot inflammation. And then rust tox is one that's used for joint pain, arthritis. It's kind of rheumatic picture, stiffness, sometimes skin rashes. So for some of these, if you were to take them at the full dose of the substance, like if someone were to take pure herbal arnica montana, non-homeopathic, but instead more of a traditional kind of herbal dose, this would be a pretty toxic substance and it might cause muscle soreness. So arnica is given homeopathically to treat muscle soreness because the body understands and recognizes what that substance causes. And so it reacts to that because it's addressing what the substance was giving input wise. Then the soreness that was already there gets taken care of when the body is trying to do its arnica response. So, in terms of contraindications and concerns with homeopathy, it's generally considered safe due to its high dilution, but there are some important considerations for using it. It's definitely not a substitute for emergency medicine. So, serious conditions, infections, life threatening situations, those always need to be treated with more emergent care. There's something called an aggravation. It's a term in the homeopathic community. Some people who take homeopathy might experience a temporary worsening of symptoms before improvement. This is known as a healing crisis. There's not typically considered to be interactions with conventional medicine, but there are things that can nullify or make homeopathic medicines less effective. It's generally considered that mint and coffee actually clear the energetic signature. So these can be used on purpose as tools to clear homeopathy that's done its job and it's time to clear it, or maybe it's causing an aggravation that's too much. Someone doesn't want to deal with it. But a lot of times people are advised to not brush their teeth right before or after if they're using mint toothpaste and space homeopathy away from coffee. Quality definitely matters. Always using remedies from reputable sources is definitely advised. And most homeopathic remedies come in pellet form. So it's confusing. We're used to taking the actual thing. So a lot of people think that the little white pellet is the medicine. But actually, that's just a little lactose base that's had the liquid homeopathy dropped onto it. So oftentimes when homeopathy is taken, you don't want to touch the pellet You drop it into the cap and then it's popped in the mouth so that no one is touching their fingers directly to it and wiping off the medicine as you're transferring it to your mouth. So, because that lactose base, people with severe dairy allergies should definitely look for alternative formulations. There are brands that make lactose free pellets. There are brands that just do the liquid drops. They don't drop it on a pellet, it's just staying in its original liquid form. The Full Script site, which is like a vetted Amazon for professional grade supplements, I have it linked on my storefront. So, if anyone wants access to it, you're always welcome. They have a couple different brands that are vetted for homeopathy on there. So let's talk about the scientific research behind homeopathy. I would say one of the biggest debates surrounding homeopathy is whether it has scientific backing. So, a lot of conventional studies suggest that homeopathic remedies are just placebo, but a lot of those conventional studies would have been studying homeopathy with a very algorithmic A equals B approach. So, someone has a UTI, they take this antibiotic, did it clear the UTI or not? That's not what we're looking for with homeopathy. Homeopathy is looking at a whole person and you choose a constitutional remedy that fits something that's showing up in that person. Or, for example, 5 people with a headache might need different remedies because different substances would have caused different types of headaches. So, different remedies would be given for different headaches. So, we can't just say everyone with a headache take this remedy. But if we look at research done by actual trained homeopathic practitioners who are choosing the appropriate remedy for the person, we can do more limited controls. It's harder to do a double blinded control study that way, but there are ways that they've gotten around that. And they have people who are having symptoms each see a homeopathic doctor and get their appropriate remedy and then evaluate whether their health has improved and compare that to a placebo effect. So, those studies do indicate that homeopathy would be having effects and that it would be benefiting health or helping improve symptoms. So it's definitely a controversial area in the US. Again, it's much more widely accepted in other areas of the world. And research, it does indicate that these ultra diluted substances can have biological effects. I definitely was really skeptical about homeopathy. I was someone who went into naturopathic school and was definitely convinced that homeopathy didn't work. And one day I woke up with a really crazy nerve pain in my elbow from sleeping really weird. And I had my little homeopathic kit because we were learning about it. And so I took a remedy for pain, which is the hypericum remedy for nerve pain. And then I actually forgot that I'd taken it. So I was just busy. I was going to school. And then about halfway through my morning lectures, I was realizing that this nerve pain, which when I get it, it usually lasts all day because I've injured that area. So it takes a bit for the inflammation to wear off. I noticed that my pain was gone. And so later that week, I got the pain back. I took the remedy again and it instantly went away. So that definitely changed my perspective of it. And then having worked on some shifts with children and hearing stories of how people have administered this to their pets, whenever it's used on children and pets, we're bypassing the placebo effect because they have no awareness of what's going on. And so seeing improvements in those areas and how a lot of holistic vets are using homeopathy definitely brings a lot of other considerations into the picture besides just traditional conventional research. Because scientific validation is still debated, it's always best to consult with a knowledgeable practitioner, especially before using homeopathy for anything that's really serious, like a serious health concern. There are a couple other subtypes or kind of spin-offs of homeopathic medicine that I just want to mention. There are drainage homeopathy remedies, which help with detox. So some examples of those would be can have a really profound effect in helping clear symptoms that have been going on for years. Pacana is another brand. There's quite a few. And these are used in biotherapeutic drainage protocols to help the body eliminate toxins and support detox pathways. So our body is always detoxing. Our body detox on its own. It's transforming and eliminating metabolic waste that our cells are creating all day long and anything else that the immune system wants to clear out. That's all detox is. These drainage remedies can actually aid the liver, the kidneys, other drainage organs and doing their job a little bit better. So these remedies work by stimulating the emunctories. These are our organs of elimination. So actually our lymphatic system, intestines, skin, and even our lungs are working to eliminate things, not just our liver and our kidneys, clearing out metabolic waste and toxins efficiently. They were developed in Europe. They're complex homeopathic formulas and they're numbered. Each remedy has a different number, and each numbered formula targets different organ systems, which makes them customizable for different specific detox needs. But each number is made from low potency homeopathic remedies combined with plant extracts combined with trace minerals. So it's this melting mixed pot of these different more energetic influences that are helping the body do its job with detoxing. So they primarily encourage drainage and organ detox. Pekana is a German homeopathic phytotherapy, so plant therapy company. It also creates drainage and detox remedies. Pekana is interesting, and so is Byron White because they're considered to be spagyric medicine. So this is an alchemical preparation, so alchemy. So these remedies are intended to help clear toxins while also restoring cellular and organ function. And they're often used in chronic conditions or environmental toxicity and just systemic body detox. And so the spagyric remedies are really interesting because they're a combination of different types of preparations of different materials. So spagyric medicine, it's a specialized form that combines the word herbalism, or it combines the concepts of herbalism, homeopathy, and alchemy all together. And the word spagyric comes from the Greek words to separate and to recombine, which is the really unique preparation process behind spagyric medicine. So it's a three-step process. There's a separation extraction method where the plant's medicinal compounds, the most active compounds, are extracted using alcohol or water, similar to making an herbal tincture. Then there's a purification, fermentation, distillation process where the plant material is fermented to extract the volatile oils and the bioactive compounds. And then after that, it's distilled and then it's recombined. So we're mineralizing and enhancing it. The remaining plant matter is burned into ash, and then the extracted mineral salts from the ash are purified and added back into the remedy. So each active part of the plant is treated and processed separately and then recombined back together. So it's usually acting on a physical herbal level and an energetic level. So you're getting a little bit of the herbal effect plus what you'd be getting from taking something like homeopathy. So it's definitely more potent than regular herbal extracts because the alchemical refinement process makes things a lot more bioavailable, and it can work on physical, energetic, and even spiritual aspects of healing. These spagyric remedies often also support detoxification, but also help replenish essential minerals. There's a lot of mineral deficiency that happens with chronic inflammation and chronic symptoms. They're also considered to help harmonize the body's energy for really deep systemic healing. So, spagyric medicine is definitely still used in modern times, and it's definitely used in European medicines for chronic illness. And a lot of the more holistic doctors in the US are using spagyric formulas as well. Let's talk about homeopathic doctors versus naturopathic doctors because many people confuse these terms. They actually are different. Homeopathic doctors, technically, the only true homeopathic doctor would be if an MD went and got an extra certification in homeopathy, an MD or a DO. So someone who went to conventional 4-year med school and then got an extra certification in homeopathy. So they could call themselves a homeopathic doctor. Anyone else who's calling themselves a homeopathic doctor, that'd be a misrepresentation of the word doctor. And in most states, that would be illegal. So they're probably flying under the radar. So there are plenty of homeopathic practitioners, just like there are herbal practitioners like herbalists. The term practitioner isn't really regulated. So a lot of people who practice homeopathy are going to call themselves holistic health practitioner or something with the term practitioner in there. Naturopathic doctors get a really comprehensive education in natural medicine, herbal medicine, nutrition, and conventional medical sciences. And homeopathy is one of the things that's included. So is minor surgery, so are manual adjustments like physical sports medicine. Naturopathic doctors are like a jack of all trades, so that they can be a natural primary care gate and really help people understand the root cause of what's going on in their entire comprehensive health picture. So, able to look at the whole person and get that bird's eye view of what's going on. So, naturopathic doctors are taught homeopathy. That being said, most naturopathic doctors aren't using homeopathy as one of their primary tools. There are a few that are, but most are using homeopathy as more a secondary tool, something that's combined with a bigger overall treatment plan. Or they're actually, a lot of naturopathic doctors aren't using homeopathy at all. And naturopathic doctors are licensed in about half of states so far in the US. It's a little bit newer of a medical degree. And so they're trained to treat illnesses using multiple natural therapies, not just homeopathy. So that's actually what I am. I'm a naturopathic doctor. I went to 4 years of medical school in naturopathic medicine. So I'm able in certain states to prescribe medications, order imaging, do everything a primary care 4 year MD or DO would do. So if you're considering seeing a practitioner, just make sure you check their credentials and their training to make sure that you're getting the right kind of care for your needs. That being said, a lot of homeopathy programs where people dive really deep into homeopathy are going to be more non medical programs. So they are going to be someone who maybe doesn't even have to show a high school degree in order to go through that program. And they could potentially still be an amazing homeopathic practitioner if they know their stuff and they're able to pair the right homeopathic remedy. So, homeopathy is not intended to be a substitute for full on care. If there's a more emergent situation or a serious situation, that's not a time to use homeopathy, in my opinion. That wraps up today's episode, and I hope this gave you a clear understanding of homeopathic medicine and how homeopathic doctors compared to naturopathic doctors. And this is a little bit of a foray into the intersection between physical medicine and energetic medicine. If you have any questions, let me know. And if you ever have any topics that you'd like covered, always feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to incorporate ideas from what people would like to hear about. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Surviving to Thriving podcast. I hope you found inspiration and valuable insights to support your journey towards better health and happiness. Remember, each health journey is unique. This podcast is not medical advice, and it's essential to consult with your healthcare provider before making any changes. If you'd like to schedule a complimentary consultation with me, I would love to talk with you. Please go to drrachelyager.com/schedule.